Welcome back. So, today we're going to be discussing the weapon and vehicle battle rating changes that are supposed to be coming with the Jet Power update. They have a nice little table for us right here, and let's see what changes we have coming. So, they reduced the dispersion when moving and shooting on the RD-44. Thank you, finally. I don't know if any of you played the recent event, but if you've never used an RD-44, you got two in there. And the thing that I kept hearing from people I played with is, oh my god, is the RD-44 always like this? Yes. But hey, if you stopped moving, it was pretty good. Moving on from there, Fedor of Automat plus 10% damage. Neat. I don't know if it needed it, but neat. Visual recoil going down on the AVT and the ABS will be nice because they look like they have a ton of recoil. I don't think it's actually nearly as bad as it looks, but it's good that they're reducing the visual recoil because, like, the perception that we get when using a gun often is not based on the actual performance of the gun, but how it looks. The Maxim Tokarev is getting a, is that a reduction or let's look. So, 45%. I assume that that's faster, right? Like, I imagine 100% is, like, ideal. Yeah, okay, 100% is ideal. So, you're going to be able to move faster with it. That's good. The PPD-40 is going to BR4. Fantastic. So, some of you may have heard me bitch and moan about what I call the drum mag tax before. The problem that I think you run into with some of the post-merge changes is that it smushes too many things into one BR. The PPD-40 going down is good because there's already a lot of competition at BR5. I would also like to see the PPD-34 go down and have faster fire rate compete with more ammo at BR3, have the PPD-40 at BR4. Because the thing is, with both of these at BR4, it's just you skip the 34-38 and you get the 40 because the 40 is just better in every situation. Like, it's kind of like this competition down here with these three, right? It's like, theoretically, the play is just to skip the first two and get the Ergen, and it's just better. Because it's just better, that's the one you should use, right? But, like, a new player, you probably just get the 42 because you get it first. But, like, if you're a competitive player and you go back and you play BR2, you're just going to get the Ergen because it's just better in every situation. But, like, there are certain BRs where they have an opportunity to create competition, and I think where they can create competition, where, you know, it makes I don't know if it's a meaningful choice, but it makes a choice that doesn't feel pointless. Because having the fire rate, for example, like if you have both of these at the same BR, I'm just going to use them for an example. The extra fire rate from the PPSH will absolutely win you close range fights because you'll get more bullets in your target. So there's a tangible benefit to having the PPSH 41. At the same time, the PPD 34-38, it shoots a little bit slower, but it holds a lot more ammo, and in the same scenario where you're going into a building and clearing it, you may kill the first guy and the second guy faster with the PPSH 41, but with the PPD 34, you might be able to kill 4 guys or 5 guys before you have to reload, whereas the PPSH 41 guy died because he had to reload, even though he killed the first 2 guys and they couldn't compete with him because he had much better fire rate. So, like, it's a trade-off, right? This guy's going to kill the first 2 guys really, really good. Maybe the first 3 guys really, really good. This guy's going to kill the whole room a little bit less good. But he's not going to have to reload while he clears the first room. So, I think that's a more interesting choice. It's kind of like up here. You have the room clearer, you have the longer ranged gun, and you have the jack of all trades. they all have their own little niche, kind of, if you consider, like, being generic and average. Um, a jack of all trades. Regardless, good to see it going down. The SU-85 going from BR5 to 4. Good. Almost every AT platform in the game, like every self-propelled gun, every tank destroyer, should go down to BR. So this is good. The IS-1 is going from BR5 to BR4. Now that is actually a crazy change. I don't think it's actually a bad change, though. So, if we look at the IS-1, it's basically just a heavily armored T-34-85. I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to kill it with or I'm pretty sure you can kill it with Panthers, so cool, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. It's going to see BR3 tanks, but I don't know. Like at BR3, the Germans have the Dicker Max if you've got premium. I don't know if the Stug can do it or if the Martyr 3 can do it. Maybe. If they're moving that down, I mean, they probably need one of these, like the 470, to be a 3. Or they need the Flak 88. This thing should not be a BR4. There's no excuse. It's at the same BR as the Tiger H1. It's like, seriously. Insanity. Moving on from there, the Ak-9T's going from 4 to 3. I kind of don't care. The RM-40's going down. I mean, most people don't have a lot of those. Some people might have like 4 of them, so every once in a while it might be annoying. The Madsen is getting reduced horizontal recoil. The PTRS-41 is going from 2 to 1, which is nice. 9130 is going from 2 to 1. M44 is going from 2 to 1. I talked about this in my other recording on the dev server, but the M44 and the M38 are so similar. And to be fair, I kind of hope that they do this 9130 change with a lot of the like harder hitting, slower firing bolt actions. I understand why they put them at BR2. I just don't think that they should be at BR2. Like, I feel like BR2 bolt actions should be exclusively like the really competitive ones. So like the Leonfield, where it's got decent fire rate, it's got a 10-round magazine, it hits hard. You get the idea. It's just a good all-around rifle, and it's competitive when you play up to BR3. The thing with some of the other ones like the 9130 or one of the Carcanos comes to mind, guns like that, they hit hard, but they shoot slowly. And because of how slowly they shoot, unless you play like a long-range preference, it doesn't really do anything that merits being at BR2. So moving on, the AT-44 is getting its rate of fire buffed from 550 to 690. That's kind of a huge buff. The PPK-42 at BR2 is getting a base ammo buff by, it looks like, 1 magazine. The Fedorov MG is going from 5 to 4. That makes sense. It used to be a Moscow squad, and to be fair, they're treated like machine guns because it's a machine gun squad. I wouldn't be that upset if they went down even further, but 5 to 4 is fine. The belt-fed DP is going from 5 to 4. Now, that's a little bit surprising. Well, actually, and they're also getting the 10% buff that's going on the other Fedorov, so we should mention that. The belt-fed DP is going from 5 to 4. So, let me look at... So the Maxim Tokarev is going to stay at 5. But the belt-fed DP, I mean, it's still listed at being 5 here, but it's going to go from 5 to 4. And it's doing 13.2. This one's probably going to do the same. 610. I guess this one shoots faster, but this one's a pain in the ass to move around with. Really slow. And what What's your sprint factor? 50. So you're actually not going to be that different at this point since they're buffing the sprint speed on the other one. I don't know. I think it's going to be fine at BR4. I think it's going to sell better at BR4. I think they could have left it at BR5 and I wouldn't have noticed. And I don't know. Like it's just a buff. I'll take it. It's a gun that I have. I'd still rather have the belt-fed DPs than the Fedorovs. So, yeah. Although at BR4, like the Fedorovs are going to be a little bit spicy because now you'll be able to play them at BR4 and play down to BR3. So, I don't know. Interesting change. The M476W going from 5 to 4, good change. That thing's a piece of shit at BR5. And it was a piece of shit in Berlin when I got it. And it's been a piece of shit since then. At BR4, though, I might actually use it. I probably will use it whenever I play BR4 because what are my choices? Like the T-34-85. I mean, T-34-85 is pretty good. Ammo in the IS-1, so I guess it's just staying with the tanks it was already competing against. So I don't know. Panthers are still going to tear it apart. That's it for Russia. For Germany, the Ju-188 is going from 4 to 5. That doesn't really affect me. I already played it on 5, but if you play BR4 a lot, I guess that's a shame. The Kirli is going from 5 to 4. So my buddy Josh and I were just discussing this the other day about how the Kirli just doesn't really fit at BR5. And the comment that I made is, it's the BR tax. This has a 40-round magazine because, it's 40 round. It's like quote-unquote high capacity, so it goes to BR5. But at BR5, it doesn't really compete because it's going up against the STG, and nothing else in BR5 competes against the STG. So, going to BR4, I like that. That's going to be a fun change. The 40-round Beretta M38 is going to BR3. That's going to be spicy. But actually, that might not be that big of a deal. I mean, it's got good fire rate. But I guess when you already have the 3842 at BR2, and you already have the Beretta M1 at BR2, it makes sense why it's BR3. I mean, currently of the guns at BR3, I like the ZKs because of their fire rate. But getting 40 rounds, yeah, I could fuck with that. That's pretty cool. Moving on from there, the Panzer IV-H is going to BR3. Oh, dude. I'm finally going to use that tank. I remember when I got it in Normandy, and I was all excited because I think Panzer IV-H's are some of the coolest looking tanks. Because they've got these big old side skirts and this big wraparound around the turret. It looks really, really cool. At least to me, right? Like maybe you guys don't think so, but I think it looks cool. And I'm really curious how this is going to work out because I remember when the merge happened, people were bitching and moaning about the Panzer IV-J being so strong at BR3, and now we're getting the Panzer IV-H, which is basically a J with side skirts, and I think it's got a powered turret, whereas I think the J is like a hand crank turret. I think the turret's a little bit quicker. Regardless, going to 3, that's pretty cool. The BF-110G2 is going up. Unfortunate, but there are other planes. The 190A4 is going from 3 to 2. Which one's the A4? Is this one with the rockets? No, this is just the fighter variant. So, it is what it is. Fokker Wolves in Enlisted, I think, generally underperform. And I think it's because they're not really designed for the map scale. Like, if we had some of the heavier ground attack ones, like if we got the, like, cluster bomb that some of them could carry, or we got, like, I think some variants could carry, like, an SC-1000, or, like, a fairly large bomb, at least. I may be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure they could carry an SC-1000 on one of them. But regardless, we could get some stuff like that and have them be like ground attackers more. Like we've got the one with the Werfergranat rockets, which I mean it's okay. It's better now that you can fire them independently. But in a fighter role, I feel like the Fokker Wolves generally prefer to have bigger maps. They want to be at altitude. They want to boom and zoom. They're not really turn fighters, and a lot of air combat in Enlisted is dogfighting like nose to tail, and that doesn't really suit the Fokker Wolf as well. So I'm not surprised it's going down. I don't know if it'll really see more play though. Um, Interesting. So the Panzer III-N is going from 2 to 3. They're getting rid of the HE and they're adding heat. And the short 75 with heat is really good. I just don't know if the tank platform is good enough to be at 3, but we'll see what they're doing. So the IIR is going from 1 to 2. That's fine. I feel like most people that fly it above 1 anyway. The 3008's going to 1. 3008's actually a pretty good SMG. I think people sleep on it because it looks like somebody took like a 2x4 and attached it to like a sten that somebody made in their shed. But it actually performs decently well. And unsurprisingly, the Carcano's going down. Let's see, the Legacy Panzer III-N is unchanged. I assume that when they say Legacy, they're talking about the Stalingrad one. Let's see if they've made this change already in-game. I can't filter for tanks, we're just gonna have to find them. So this one is going to be BR3. This is the premium one from Tunisia. This one is staying at BR2, which is the Stalingrad one. Which, that'll be spicy. And there should be a tech tree one somewhere. Although I have no idea which squad they go on. Not that one. Not the Italians. I think the problem that they're going to run it... Yeah, okay, so here it is. The problem they're going to run into putting this at BR3 is that, like, it's good at killing infantry, and it's, like, good general purpose at BR2. The problem with putting it at BR3 is you're competing against the Panzer IV-J and the Panzer IV-H now, and I feel like they're just going to be better in virtually every scenario. So, mildly scuffed, but it doesn't affect me because I have the Stalingrad one, so, I don't know, Rip Bozo, I guess. The Panzer IV's staying, though, so, I mean, it's fine. It's got a little bit less armor, but the real idea is you just have the short 75 on literally anything, and as long as it said BR2, it's good. Above BR2, it's not so good. The problem with putting it above BR2 is that most of the vehicles that have short 75s just get killed. And the heat isn't good against vehicles that are above BR2. The heat's really just good at killing infantry, so I don't know. Like, you'll probably be able to deal with certain vehicles at BR3 if you get the right shots on them. It's just not ideal. The event FG-42 with the grenade launcher staying at BR5, getting more ammo. The Luftfaust is going from 5 to 4. The Irma EMP-44 is going from 4 to 3. The VMP-26 from 4 to 3. The KP-26 is going from 3 to 2. I think I've got those on my BR3 lineup right now. We already saw this one. That's going from 2 to 3. The Lati Salaranta is getting a faster ADS speed, so that'll be nice. I like those. I sometimes run those on half-track squads. The STG-45 is going from 5 to 4. That's actually kind of huge. But you know what they're not changing? They're not changing the MKB. I didn't see that in there. So the MKB, 500 rounds a minute, if you look at it, it doesn't get like a fire rate up. So it's 500 rounds a minute. They don't have it down here, do they? So I'm gonna have to find the squad. What do they look like? these guys? Yeah, these guys. The STG-45, this one's shooting at 450. So 450 is enough for you to go to BR4, but 500 isn't. Like, really good that these guys are going down. I will actually get use out of them again. I just think it's kind of scuffed that the MKB is also not going down. Because it's competing against the MP43, which it does not compete against. Which is competing against the STG-44, which it barely competes against. Like, the STG-44 is just better than both of these. I don't know, dude. I would have put it at BR4 and let it and the Kirley compete. So the Kirley has fire rate and ammo, the MKB has stability and damage. That would have been my take, but I guess they don't want to do that. Still, BR4 is starting to shape up to become a very spicy German lineup, especially if you're premium, because the Garrote is there now. Well, it's been there for a little while, like a couple of patches. And the STG-45s are going there, the Kirley's going there, so that'll be spicy. The TZ-45 at BR3 is getting reduced recoil, which is kind of nice. I was actually just recording stuff with that the other day because I've been sitting on it for a little while, and I've been really bad about actually, doing anything about it. But nice. So we'll have to try that out once it goes live. And I'll probably hold off on making a video about them. And then we already saw the Premium Panzer IIIN is going to BR3. We'll see how that works out. I'm not a fan, but we'll see. Moving on to America. The 50-round Thompson is getting reduced recoil. They're horizontal, so that's good, I guess. I didn't mind it too much as it was. The 1919 is going to let you run faster. The M1 Grand C is going from 5 to 4. I think that's the Sniper Grand. The A276W is going from 5 to 4. That mirrors the Russian change. The AP4C is going from 4 to 5. I believe that is the Corsair. Yeah, so it's the Corsair. I already fly it at 5, so it's not a big change for me, but for anybody who is running a 4 lineup, that kind of sucks. I'm pretty sure it was at 4 because of the Pacific specifically. Because for a long time, Japan didn't have a BR5, so if you wanted to play against Japan as America, I think you had to cap yourself at BR4. So it makes sense why it would change now. The M10 is going from 4 to 3. That's actually going to be kind of spicy. Because this is getting the full-length 76, and it's going to be at BR3. That's going to be... I might actually start taking a tank destroyer because, I mean, compared to all the other, like, shit-ass Shermans at BR3, it's going to be pretty good. Like, yeah, people might light you on fire, people might snipe your crew out, but you're going to be able to punch through anything you see at BR3 and 4. That's exactly what they should be doing with tank destroyers. Awesome decision. Now just do it with every other tank destroyer. Yeah, I like that change. It's a good change. Tank destroyers should have the best AT gun at their BR. That's just the way it is. Like, they shouldn't have fully turreted tanks with enclosed turrets competing against them. Moving on from there, the 1928A1 Thompson has reduced horizontal. The M1A1 the M1A1 Thompson is going from 3 to 2. I spent all of this time. Let me pull up like a. I guess they're not saved. I spent all this time making these like BR2 assault squads for America, and like collecting things like those guys and these guys, so that I would have BR2 lineups. So I've got like the BSA Thompsons, I've got the Marine Raiders, the Chinese Thompson squad. I have one other one. I just don't remember where I put them. But anyway, I have all these Thompson and Thompson adjacent squads that I have assembled for BR2 because there was no way to get Thompsons down there. It's kind of nice that now everybody is going to be able to run Thompson squads at BR2 because I feel like Thompsons are some of the iconic American fantasy. And so getting this at BR2 is going to be really good. Plus, against the Germans, even though it's only 600 rounds a minute base, having a 45 that fires at 600 rounds a minute at BR2, like, this is, like, unquestionably the new king of BR2. Like, the Lanchester was pretty good before. This does, like, a whole, 1.1 damage more than the Lanchester. And it's shooting significantly faster than the M3A1 grease gun, so yeah, bye-bye every other American SMG at BR2. Hello M1A1 Thompson. I don't know if that's going to be a good change. I suspect they're trying to make the Americans more competitive with the Germans, which up until now they kind of had. I mean, I think it's a player problem, not a weapons problem. But I'm not complaining. Like, this is a change that I will make use of and I really like because I like Thompsons. Moving on from there, AP1 is going from 3 to 2. Awesome. So this gets two 500-pound bombs. Your comparison point for it, I guess, is the Dauntless, which gets 1,000. I actually think that that's a pretty good competition. It's like, do you want one big ass bomb or do you want two still pretty big bombs? It's a good choice. I like it. I feel like most of the time the answer is two because you can space them out, but like if you're on Tunisia, for example, and you've got the map with the holes, then the 1,000 is probably the play because you're going to take out everything in the hole. Moving on from there, the Event Vickers squad is getting lowered recoil, reduced horizontal, and visual recoil. So, boom. The Event Mark II Sten S is going from 2 to 1. I think that that's the SAS squad, but I don't have them. The Austin Mark 1s are going from 2 to 1. I think these are the Australians and the New Zealanders. They're actually pretty good, though. So seeing them go from 2 to 1, like, cool. But even at BR2, I think they were doing fine. The M2A1 is getting the recoil fix, same as the M2. The Smith & Wesson Light is getting a 40% reduced recoil time, and it's going to BR1, so that might actually become a good gun. The Mosquito is going from 4 to 3. The Boomerang is going from 3 to 2. The Enfield Snipers are going from 2 to 1. I mean, they're bolt-action sniper squad. Like, I get it, but, like, eh. And the Founders M2 Hyde is going from 2 to 1. So this Mosquito is BR3. This is actually probably going to be a pretty decent plane now because it has two 500-pound bombs. It's got 420 mils. I don't have it, but at BR3, that's a pretty spicy loadout. It's probably not the most agile plane in the world just given its size, but, I mean, it's probably a pretty good plane to grind with. Moving on from there to Japan, the Type 4 rifle, this is their Garand, is going from 4 to 3. Awesome. That's just straight power. The D4Y1 is going from 4 to 3. The Otsu is going from 3 to 2. So back to the old days of the Hiei and the Otsu competing against each other. The B5N2 is going from 3 to 2. All of their Type 99 and Type 100 rifles are going from 3 to 2, or rather from 2 to 1. The Type 1 from the Battle Pass is going from 3 to 2. And the Premium Type 1 is going from 3 to 2. Let's see, which one's the Premium Type 1? I think that that's the not paratroopers. Do I have those guys on? Yeah, okay, these guys. I mean, that makes sense. I can't believe this thing was ever BR3. Like, probably because the ammo count is 50 rounds, but it's not a particularly great gun. It's not bad, it's just not great, so. Cool changes. Across the board, looks like Japan is getting stronger at the lower BRs, which is where I think that they've always suffered. Um, but again, I think that's more of a player issue than an equipment issue. I think that Japan has always had a slew of good submachine guns at basically every BR, and they get access to really good AT weapons really early. Like the Type 97 and the Type 5 are both excellent. I think where they lack early on is in tanks, but their maps also don't really like tanks. Um, and their planes are also like if we're gonna move the B5 down to BR2, we probably should move the D3 to BR1. Um, it just doesn't really make sense to be at the same BR as the B5 because the B5 is just a lot better. Um, but yeah, makes sense. Japan gets stronger. Between the Hiei and the Otsu, I mean the Otsu is just better. Just got better fire rate. Um, Damage is pretty much the same. It also just looks kind of nice. Um, yeah, not much to say there. The Type 4 going down, it means that they don't have a rifle at BR4 anymore. But it going to BR3 makes sense. I'm pretty sure that the Garand for the Americans has just always been BR3. It never really made a whole lot of sense to me that the Type 4 was BR4, because the only real difference is that you have 10 rounds to 8. I mean, there's probably some other stat differences, but, like, that's the one that stood out to me. So, I don't know. It's a change. Let me know what you think of the changes down below. By and large, I think most of them are good. A few of them, like the DP for the Russians, is a little bit questionable. I think that they actually should go a little bit further. I think the MKB should go down. I think all of the tank destroyers, like the Yags and the Panzer 470 and whatnot, all those, I feel like they should go down a little bit. Like, if you want to keep the 470V at 4, or it's 5, fuck. Yeah, it needs to go to 4, and then these two should go to 3. I think you can make an argument for the Hellcat staying at 4 for the Americans because of its mobility, but okay, whatever. I don't really care. I feel like it might be a little bit too spicy at 3. I also just feel like it isn't that good at 4 because you have other tanks with the 76 M1 that are not open-topped and have marginally more armor, so I don't know. I feel like it should be 3, but I feel like seeing 2s with it would be dumb, so I don't know. The SU-100 probably should be a 4. The SU-85M, to be 100% honest, probably should be a 3, not a 4, and it just moved down. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it all. The NATO is a 3. Honestly, if they moved the NATO to 2, that would fix probably all of Japan's tank woes. Because the Chi-Nu is 3. These two guns aren't that dissimilar from each other, and this is a very, very open-top tank. I feel like the NATO could be moved to 2, and it wouldn't, like, destroy the game. Especially when you've got things like the Grant and the Lee at 2 for the Americans. So, I don't know. As per usual, get out there, kick ass, take names, and win your games.